Hi Criticans and Queens, I hope everything is good with you. In today's episode, we will go through Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Polkadot. On Ethereum, you can see that we are breaking this resistance trend line, but we need to break this previous lower high around 3K to see the market actually breaking to the upside. But if we see the market breaking inside the resistance trend line again and breaking potentially 2,800, you see a retest of this counter trend line, and the counter trend line is actually showing us that we're having a pullback. So if we're breaking the counter trend line, the pullback is over and we could potentially come back down to 2,200 again. I'll also show you exactly what I see on Bitcoin and what I see on Polkadot. Remember, I am no financial advisor. You need to look up everything yourself first, but please continue looking at this video and I'll show you exactly what I see on the technical side on these different pairs. We're looking at Bitcoin on the 12-hourly chart. As you can see, I do have these box lines right here to represent. As you can see, the market is always bouncing in between level to level. If we're zooming in to see where we are right now, you can go back in time and see that this level has been a very important level and you've seen the market actually respecting it and either continue to the upside or to the downside. We are coming to a level, or we are inside for the 3,800 and for the 4,500. Last time we were here, you saw the market breaking to the downside. We did create another high around this level because we did break this resistance trend line. What we potentially can expect from a level like this is that we just might see the market pushing back down to potentially create a higher low, and that could be around 41,350, and that is also combined with the support trend line that we do have, and it's also could retest this previous resistance. If we're seeing the market bouncing back down to this level, you could potentially see the market continuing to the upside. If we're seeing that the market is respecting this box that we are inside now, the next target that I can see Bitcoin coming to, if we're going back in time, the last high was around 51,652K. So market is always bouncing in between level to level. So if we are breaking this level, the next target that I can see Bitcoin coming to is potentially 52K. If we're breaking to the downside, we could potentially come back down to 41,000. If we're breaking 41K, we can come back down to 35,400 going back in time. You can also see that this is a level where the market has been before. So always remember that market is always trading from level to level, and that is really good to understand because at that point we could potentially see where the market is heading to. So if we're looking at Polkadot, you can still see that we are in a downtrend. We can continue to the upside, but just following what we're seeing on the charts, we do have this head and shoulder formation, and you can see it more clear on the 4-hourly. But what we're doing is that we took a Fibonacci from the highest point from 20.11 to the lowest point at 15.96. We are right now inside the Fibonacci levels between 19.45 and 18.44. And from this level, if we are breaking, so now we're going down to the lower time frames, because if we're just following market structure at the moment, the market is still in a downtrend. So this could potentially only be a pullback. If we are seeing that this is a pullback and we're breaking this counter trend line that we do have, we need to break the counter trend line combined also with this previous neckline that we do have the support. Need to break it, you potentially see a retest from that level, and that is giving us the second confirmations that this Fibonacci levels is actually very accurate. And if we are doing that, the target that I'm having will still be 12.50. I know I've been speaking about this one before, but if we're now seeing momentum to the upside, the last lower high that we do have on Polkadot is around 20. So we need to come up to this level and break the level. You see potentially retest. As long as you're seeing the market breaking it, have a higher low and then continuation to the upside. At that point, I am looking at bullish perspective. But at the moment, what I'm waiting for is to see if we are breaking these levels, breaking the counter trend line, because these high highs and high lows that we do have is the one representing that we are in an uptrend on the lower time frames. But we have to understand that this is the pullback that we're having on the overall picture because the market is going down. And if we are still creating lower lows and lower highs, this could be our next lower high. And if we're creating another lower low, we need to break this previous lower low that we do have around 14.19, and that could take us back down to 12. It kind of makes sense if we're doing that, and that is representing that we are in a downtrend, but we are still below the previous lower high. Even if we did break this resistance trend line, if we see the momentum to the downside, I am gonna move my resistance trend line to this lower high, and the next time if we see the market pushing to the upside, we're using this new trend line to see if we're breaking it, retest, continuation to the upside. So every time the market creates another lower high, we have to adjust it, because that's how we're using the trend lines, and that's how we can see that when the price comes to these levels the next time, it's more accurate, because as the market moves, we also have to move, especially the trend lines, because the trend lines is the one telling us if we're in a downtrend or if we're breaking the downtrend. Right now we're looking at this level around 18, around these Fibonacci levels, to see are we actually breaking everything and continues to the upside, or are we respecting this lower high and create another one and come back down to around 12. We are having the same scenario right here on Ethereum. So we are breaking this resistance trend line, but the last lower high that we do have is around 3K. So if we're taking a Fibonacci from the previous high to the previous low, we are slightly above the 61%. And if we see the market now continuing to the upside, what we need to break is this previous lower high around 3,200. You see a potential retest, continuation to the upside. At that point, I am definitely sure that we could potentially continue back up. But right now, we're still looking at the market below the previous lower high. If we're seeing the market now having some momentum to the downside, I'm going to do the same thing here. So we're taking a counter trend line, because this is the one representing the pullback, because we are still in a downtrend. Looking at the price action that we do have. So I would look at if we are seeing the market having some movement to the downside, I would still use this previous high to see if we're breaking it. You're also having that combined with the previous counter trend line that you can see the market creating high highs and high lows against. If we're breaking it, you see retest. That is a scenario that I can see happening, and at that point I would short the market. I still gonna use these previous targets that I had since before, and that would be around 2,200. This is the only level that I would use. If we're coming to it, are we having the market respecting it, and then we see the break to the upside. But right now, as on Polkadot, as on Bitcoin, obviously, if Bitcoin goes down, Ethereum will also go down, and the same thing goes for Polkadot. But I would still use this previous lower high, because this is the one telling us that we are still in a downtrend. If we're breaking that level, we're looking at another perspective of the market. If we're breaking the counter trend line, the ones who's actually showing us that we are still in a downtrend, if we're breaking it, I would sell the market at that point. But right now, I would just wait for the market, because you can see the market coming up to this level right here around 3,100 and then break to the downside, or you could potentially see the market actually coming back down to this previous support, retesting this previous high that we do have, create a higher low, continuation to the upside. So when we're looking at the charts, we need to break certain levels. You need to see a retest against other levels. You just have to combine everything together when the market is breaking these levels, respecting Fibonacci levels, etc., etc. So we are in a moment where I would actually just wait to see what the market is actually doing, because just because we did break this resistance trend line, this could as usual be just another fake out and we're continuing back down, because just because you're breaking the resistance trend line, that is not telling us the market is breaking to the upside, because we need to break this previous lower high and see another higher low. At least that's how I see it, and then see the continuation to the upside. But if we're breaking this previous high, also a previous low, you see the retest of the counter trend line, I think that we can come back down again, at least to the support. And that is why I do have this support line right here, because usually what happens before we're breaking to the upside, you just might have a last push against this same level, same support that we didn't have before, and then you see huge momentum. So it depends, everything depends on how the market is obviously behaving. I do not know what's going to happen. I can only use these different levels to see, okay, how is the market reacting to him, and after that I'm taking my decision what to do. Thank you so much guys for looking at this video. I hope you did enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications so you always know when I'm having my live stream or when I'm having my daily updates. I hope you are super good, even if we're living in this crazy world that we're having. I wish you all the best. Take care of yourself and trade with risk management, and try to understand market structure, because whatever happens in the world, the market will always show you on the technical side. So have a good day. From Sweden.